Today on the worst mechanic ever.
Man, what's up? Hey, what's up, boss? So today I'm working on this 2004 Nissan Maxima. It's my daily driver that's been parked for a while. So today we're working on the inner tie rod. I actually went ahead and already got this started. It's already pretty much taken apart. But I will try to do the I'm working on the driver's side. I will try to do the passenger side, and I'll get that on film so you can check it out. It's really not a tough job. It really isn't. Some experience doing this thing helps a lot, or just having good resources, good information, somebody who's knowledgeable who could teach you how to do it, or somebody who could explain it, or YouTube videos. And you are going to need a special tool. It's pretty much like a inverted crescent wrench type of thing. That's really what it does. So let's get in there and I'll show you. Let's go. Alrighty, so that's where I'm at right now. I'm in there. The ram ropes, I'll see there. Alrighty, so at this point, I'll be honest, I'm not really happy with this decision that I made. I went with some cheaper stuff. I went with this Detroit axle. I have used it in the past and it's worked out, but I'll be honest, sometimes if you're doing stuff yourself, it's actually worth just paying the extra money. And again, I suggest you guys get quality stuff. You might be saving some money. You're saving some money doing the labor yourself, so get better stuff. I did not, so I really regret not getting some decent tie rod ends. And the better ones, they are a bit more expensive. So, but just thinking about it being here now with this thing in front of me, it's really worth spending the extra money. Let's see what happens. Let's see how it goes with this thing. So, this thing is a prelude. There's a little bit of a lube in there. And I'm going to go ahead and add some extra. Alright, so I'll get some extra in there. And I'm going to put a little bit of a blue thread lock on this side. I'm going to put a little bit of thread lock on this side here. Some grease in here. And I typically do anti-seize on the inside just to, so it's easier next time you take this thing apart. So here's the grease, just some general stuff, anti-seize, and some thread lock, blue stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and first step, remove my tire. I'm using a impact wrench. If you don't have one, I do suggest that you keep the tire on the floor and loosen this up a little bit before you actually get it in the air. So let's go for it. Okay, so here's what's going on. So we are gonna remove our outer tie rod end first. So the first thing I suggest is breaking this guy loose. Alrighty, I'm using one of those adjustable crescent wrenches for that. Remove your cotter pin. Remove the castle nut. Get that guy out of the way. And you know what? Before actually getting out of there, try to get this guy loose, because he does have to come off to get that boot off. Unless you want to go ahead and cut it, and I am not gonna cut it just for the presentation. But if you don't need it, you can just cut it off. Alrighty, because this guy is throwaway. But if you're gonna slide the boot off and reuse it, you do have to get this guy off. So that's gonna be the first steps. Getting this guy. So remove outer tie rod. Then we're gonna have to clamp here. You take pliers, you press it, and you slide it off. And to make this thing get loose, what I do is I just use pliers and rock this thing back and forth, and that loosens that up a little bit. Now for the inside, it's gonna be a little bit different. It's not hard; it's just hard to get to. I'm not even sure if I can get this on film. So, all right, I think I could do this. So I'm pointing right at that little guy right there. So that little slot right there, my finger's actually under it. So that little slot north of my finger, what you're gonna do is stick a screwdriver that fits in that hole and just spin it. All right, pretty simple. All right, so since I'm here, I'm gonna try to go and get it. I'm actually looking at this through my camera, so not the easiest. Let's see if I can do this. And again, I'm looking at where you're looking. I'm looking at it through the camera. And I'm sitting in an odd angle. So you get that baby in there and just spin it. Yeah, this might not work, me holding this thing with the camera. Come on. yeah, it's not gonna work. I have to get it in there. And you might want to take like a hammer and just tap it once, twice to get that baby in there, and you spin it. On the other side, I actually tapped it twice, and the thing actually opened up for me automatically. So, but that's it. I'm using this old cheap dollar store screwdriver, flathead, and the tip is actually broken on this thing, but it worked pretty good. So, and again, that's it. Go for it. So again, to get that little guy back there, it's pretty simple. Let's see how I can get it back in the shop. So get a screwdriver back there. To make it easier, tap it with a hammer a couple times. Sometimes it just pops right open. The one on the driver's side just popped right open. This guy did not, so I hit it with a hammer a couple times. It went in, and then I just spin the screwdriver, and it cracked it open. The hardest part of this thing will be, I guess, finding that little notch if it's in a bad position. That'd be like the only thing. So, and make sure when you put it back, like put it in a spot where you could get to it pretty easily next time you do it. I'm not sure if I recorded this thing, so I was in there with, let's see, I get some light on my plier, got that little clamp off, slid it off, took this, rocked it back and forth a couple times, just to break whatever's holding this thing in, and just slide this baby out. And that's the way you do that. And that is pretty greasy. Okay. So now I'm gonna go ahead, I actually did this backwards just for presentation. So now I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing loose. And again, you wanna break this thing off from your outer tie rod, but you also wanna make sure it could freely float back and forward so you can release this thing. Okay, just smack it a couple times. Pop, pop, pop. Get that baby loose. So this one I could even loosen it up with my hand, so it's pretty good. It's in pretty good shape. All right, let's take this guy apart now. So I'm gonna remove the cotter pin. For that, I'm gonna use my pliers. And again, I'm looking at this through the camera. Use my pliers to straighten this wire out as best as possible and slide it out. All right, this guy here is an 18. Now to get this out, to get the outer tie rod out, there's actually a tool that you can use for that. I have one, didn't bring it out, so I'm gonna go the old-fashioned way. You're gonna take this castle nut here, you're gonna pull it out, you're gonna rotate it, and you're gonna halfway thread this on this thread here, and you're gonna smack it with a hammer on the bottom. First, I'll smack it here a couple times, just to break up any rust that is in there, and then I'll smack the bottom. Don't ever smack the thread itself, because you'll mess up the bolt itself, the threads in the bolt, because you'll mess up the threads on that bolt, so don't do that. And again, guys, I'm using my impact wrench just for convenience, but you can just use standard hand tools. All right. For years, I was using standard hand tools, and then I picked this guy up, and it just made my life a little bit easier, because you can't really use it everywhere. So it's gonna be an 18. Get that baby in there, and get it out of there. You should inspect it. Shake it a few times. Let me stop this air. If you see that thing is loose, I do suggest you go ahead and replace it at this time, since you already took it apart. So, all right, let's go for it. Again, get that in there. Get this baby loose. Let's go for it. Here's the castle nut. Put it in backwards. I hope this thing's in focus. Make sure there's no thread at the bottom. Alrighty, so I'm gonna go ahead and smack this thing a couple times. So I'll get your hammer, tap it around here. I'll be honest, this thing was really loose. I actually didn't do anything to it. It was loose, I guess, because of all that grease that is just pouring out of this thing. I guess I over-lubed it last time I did it, and that was a while ago. So you can see all that grease that is coming out of this thing. So that's the reason it was loose. So, but whatever. Smack it here to loosen up the rust, and if that doesn't do it for you, tap it here a couple times and just alternate. A couple here, a couple here, a couple here, a couple here, until you're done with that. Alrighty, so let's take this guy out now. And before I pull this thing out, I'm gonna count how many times this thing spins. When I reinstall it, I'm gonna count how many times I put it back in. So you're gonna make sure you take it out the same amount of spins that you put it back on. All right, that way your alignment is not too far off. 1, 2, 3, 15, getting close, 16, 16. The other side was actually 16 spins as well, so I guess that's standard on this car the way it's aligned, 16 spins. So go ahead and pull this guy out. You're definitely gonna need 2 hands to do this. Let's see how far I can go with just 1 hand. And again, I'm surprised that this thing was loose, because sometimes these things are super rusted and just pretty much welded on. This one's pretty loose. I have been in here, and again, it was a while ago, probably like a year ago. I replaced this outer tie rod, and whenever I do these things, I make sure I lube it pretty good. So it paid off. Lube your parts, grease it. All right, so that did come off very easily. I'm happy. All right, so that's off. Now let's take the boot off. Grab that baby, just pull it out. And now we're gonna get the cruise foot and get to work back there. Alrighty, so the cruise foot. So first find your adapter So here's a tool that I'm using. I picked this thing up from eBay. It was like 35 bucks or something like that. I'll be honest, it's not the best tool. It's kind of uncomfortable to use. And I'll explain the way this thing works real fast. Okay, alright, so here's the, I guess your adapters, different pieces. I'll be honest, I really can't tell you what size this thing is. So the way this thing works is that this part sits on the inside. So once this thing is set on the inside, just sit in there. This guy comes and sits over it. After that, you take these guys here and you tighten these up to lock into these little notches. I don't think it's the best system, I'll be honest, and I couldn't find an Allen key for this size. It's standard, but I don't know where my Allen keys are at, so I couldn't get in there. So I'm not having the best time with it. For 35 bucks, great tool. But there are better tools, and you don't have to buy this thing. 35 bucks, you'll probably just use it once in your life. I bought it for the heck of it. But you could, depending on where you're at, you could rent one from like the AutoZone or something like that. So let's get this thing installed. Okay, so this one goes back here, and that's where it sits at. All right, so it locks up right there. Okay, let's see if I can get a side angle of that just to get a better picture. So there's notches like right on the side of this thing. There's notches right here, so it sits right there, and your bar goes over that and claps it and just holds it in place.
Have fun this on YouTube.
Sí, si me da tiempo, sí, baby. Si no, no. ¿Está grabando?
Sí.
Let's see what happens. So that was actually pretty simple. So let's see, I guess at this point I could do it by hand. So I am going to do it by hand. Alright, so get your tool, learn how to use it, set it up, take this thing apart. Part came off, and it is shot, it's pretty loose. Look at that. You're not supposed to be able to do this to this part. I can't even show it. Not supposed to be able to do that. It's loose, it's shot, it's dead. Let's replace it. Alrighty, so my battery is dying on my cell phone. And at this point, I guess, we probably could wrap this thing up. From here, it's going to be the same as the opposite side. I just want to make sure that they're about the same length. So I'm looking at it from this point back here to here. And it seems like the new one is a little bit longer, and this car is going to get aligned, so it's not a big deal. So you don't have to prep the part, but I do suggest it. Again, put a little bit of a thread lock on the inside part just to make sure that baby's nice and tight. You don't have to grease the inside because there is grease in there, but I'll put some extra, why not? Here, anti-seize to make it easier next time it's coming off. So again, it should be pretty simple. So I'm taking my tie rod end. It's going in there. To get this thing back in, it could be a little bit tricky. It has to be properly aligned in order to go back in. So get that guy in there, get him tight by hand. All right. After that, get your boot set up. Get the boot in there, put the strap. All right. After that, you're doing the outside, which is going to be your outer tie rod, and that should be pretty simple. Alrighty, so now we're going to go ahead and tighten this thing up. So the torque spec on this is 51 to 65 pounds. I'm going to go for 60. That's what I'm doing today, and that should be it. So this is how I'm set up.
Hello.
It's my little helper with her Moses stick. So I got my torque wrench set to 60 foot-pounds. I do have an extension to get away from the car. Yeah. And I have this thing in there. So I'm kind of like just playing around with like the inside because I did not tighten the tool up the way you're supposed to. So do get an Allen key if you have this tool, and do tighten this thing up. Let's go for it. Alrighty, so this tie rod that I got came with this special this type of strap. Well, you could use a plastic tie rod. Is that what it's called? Tie rod? Plastic tie. Whatever it's called. The way this one works is that you push it in, and then when you're ready, just push that upwards, and it locks in place. I think it works pretty good, so I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna first go ahead and set this thing in place. So I'll go ahead and push that in there, get it ready. I'll trim it a little bit, and then I go inside and hook this thing up. Alrighty, guys. So it's actually April, and I recorded this way back in March. So real fast, as you guys are watching all these little clips that I'm putting together, I'll be honest, like they might be kind of useless. Out of the whole job, this was actually like the hardest part. Right now, what we're looking at is the driver's side. This is actually a compilation of both sides. As you guys notice, I was doing the passenger side, the driver's side, so it was a mess. Both sides are pretty similar. So those ties that come with this Detroit system, they really didn't work out that good for me. They were like, once you get them in place, they were tough to tighten. So I really suggest you guys just get some plastic wraps. Like it shouldn't be that hard. This shouldn't be the hardest part of the job, and I'm pretty sure you guys can figure this out pretty easily. If you guys got this far, you guys could definitely figure out putting on a boot and making that thing secure. This kit only came with that metal strap for the back part. It did not come with a strap for the front, so I ended up getting a plastic tie wrap for the back from I got it from an HVAC supply store, which I actually had it in my basement from another job I did. And for the front, I got one of those metal like ratchet straps. So you guys could definitely figure this part out. Those tie mechanisms might work out for you guys. It didn't work out for me. So, and another thing is that the driver's side was easier than the passenger side. There's actually less space in the passenger side. So good luck with this one. All right, guys. So I'm gonna go ahead and do a voiceover for this part because I was using my little action camera, and the audio from that camera is just garbage. So here's what's happening. So I suggest you guys do some anti-seize grease on the threads that connect to the outer tie rod, just to make it easier to service in the future. All right, you don't want that thing seizing up. Also, at this point, we're connecting the outer tie rod to the spindle. This should be pretty straightforward. You might have to wiggle it a couple times or play around with it, move the spindle around to make that guy fit in. Once you got that guy in there, we're gonna start assembling. So we're gonna be attaching the castle nut at the bottom. We're gonna have to be tight. We're gonna have to tighten the outer tie rod, and we'll be seeing some of that in a second. All right. So at this point, I'm adding the cotter pin. You do want to add a cotter pin back there. I guess vibration could loosen these things up, and you don't want that guy getting out of there. So at this point, I'm using a wrench. I'm not sure what size that would be. I think it's somewhere close to a 21 or a 22. The biggest I have is a 19, so that's the reason I use this adjustable wrench. So you want to go in there, make sure that baby's tight, straightening everything up. You might not have a serviceable tie rods, but I did, so I went ahead and serviced that. Alrighty, so this side is done. I got in there, I did a visual check to make sure everything was good. I am gonna have to get a tie wrap to put it on the outside of this guy right there. I don't want to just leave it open. This kit did not come with one, and the existing one did not fit over that opening. Here's the old one here, and that's the new one. It's a bit thicker, so they probably think that you don't need it, and you probably don't. But I'll get something on there. I don't want no dust getting in there and messing this stuff up. Again, visual check, everything looks good. I'm about to get this tire on. The tire's getting torqued to 85 pounds, 95 pounds each. Alright guys, so I'm not used to making this type of video. I have recorded a couple of car repair videos, but they never turn out that good because there's just so much information and there's cameras always end up dying and stuff like that, so they're not the best. I really hope that this video is useful. If you guys have comments, please comment. If the video was super long, let me know. If it was lacking information, give me a heads up. I am gonna try to enter any information I think of into the description area, like specs and sizes for boats and stuff like that. I know as I was doing it, I had all that information. It didn't make it to the video, so hopefully I can add that into the description. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like, and all that good stuff. Thank you.